Okay, can any of you tell me what this is?
You want to go down the slides? That's the shades, because of your epiphorical glow around your head.
Is that good? Do I need more? Okay, so what is this? Good job. Have you ever been lost and needed one of these to find your way home, like maybe when you're hiking or something? Well, a compass for your writing would be your transitional words and phrases. They direct your reader through your story. Alright, so here's we're going to together come up with examples of past, present, and future transitional words and phrases. So right now, I have an example of past being earlier, present being meanwhile, and future afterward. So can any of you generate other examples of transitional words and phrases? Valerie?
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Good job.
Excellent.
Oh no, how does this work?
Here.
Oh, it's a cap. Oh, okay. Oh, you have a pen. Thank you. Thank you.
We can edit that part out later.
Yeah, just delete that.
Okay, any others?
You don't have to come up with three, just one in a category.
The next year.
Uh-huh. Next would be future.
Later.
And then before.
During, after.
Good job. Okay. So Chris, you want to get your book set up?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to do a little activity right now. So while Chris is getting set up on the board, I'm just going to pass out your materials. Okay.
These cards, which we made 6,000 of.
Yeah, you only needed a couple. Okay.
All right, what we're going to do with this is read through this book, Meanwhile Back at the Ranch, and it has a number of transitional words in it. So what you're to do with the cards you have in front of you, you're to write before, during, let's see, past, present, and future. So on the first card, with your markers, write past on the first card.
Like big?
Big.
This is kind of hard.
Like in the corner.
No, whole card.
The whole card.
Yeah. Big. Big block letters in. Not blocks.
I'm not really sure what to do with this dot cam.
Just sit down.
Past,
Yeah.
present, and future.
Yes. Now when you write the words present and future, they're going to have to be a little bit smaller letters than past. Past has less letters.
Oh. I was saying. Like what? So let's start at this.
Past, present. Future.
You got to take these cards home with you too, so it's a little added bonus.
Hang them up in my room.
Remember. And future.
Okay.
All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read through this story, Meanwhile Back at the Ranch, and every time we hit a word that seems like past, present, or future, you hold the word up, okay? What this will do is teach you to be mindful as you're reading of words that are transitional words. And ultimately, the goal is that you'll be able to use these words in your own writing, okay? Because you'll see how useful they are. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Rancher Hicks lived out west. As far as the eye could see, there was nothing, not even a roaming buffalo. So nothing much ever happened. I think I'll drive into town and see what's happening, said Rancher Hicks. Want to ride along, Elna? No, I've got to dig potatoes. So Rancher Hicks climbed into his truck and drove 84 miles to the town of Sleepy Gulch. He stopped at the post office to look at the new wanted posters. This is actually pretty funny. I was having a hard time reading these stories. Cards flying up in my face. They were the same ones that were there 12 years ago. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the cat had just had kittens. This is really fun. The cat had just had kittens in Elna's sewing basket when the phone rang. Hello? Mrs. Elna Hicks? Yes. Mrs. Hicks, you have just won a brand new wall-to-wall, frost-free, super cool refrigerator with built-in automatic food maker. Why, I never, exclaimed Elna. The delivery men are on their way.
Show it to the camera.
Meanwhile, back in Sleepy Gulch, Rancher Hicks strolled on over to the barber shop for a whisker trim and to hear the latest gossip. So what's new, Bob? Asked Rancher Hicks. Well, back in the spring of '49, we had a rainstorm you wouldn't believe. Why, it rained for pretty near a whole 5 minutes. Folks thought it had never stopped. Nothing much has been happening since. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the dog had just had puppies when a postman came up the drive with a special delivery. Elna opened it. It was her great Aunt Edith's will. It said, "My dear Elna, I'm leaving you my entire estate, which is worth a bundle. Your loving great Aunt Edith. P.S. Encloses a winning lottery ticket. I didn't have time to cash it in."
You are now running on reserve battery power.
Present, by the way. Everybody present.
That's awesome. That's a great teachable moment there.
So Elna cashed in the lottery ticket and put new siding on the house. Then later that day, she added a new wing for the wall-to-wall refrigerator and the new den for all the puppies and kittens. Meanwhile, back in Sleepy Gulch, Rancher Hicks moseyed on over to Millie's Mildew Luncheonette. What's on the menu for today, Millie? Well, we've got potatoes mashed and potatoes fried, potatoes boiled and potatoes baked, potatoes roasted and potatoes stewed, potatoes scalloped and potatoes steamed, and 1 egg. Sounds great, said Rancher Hicks. I'll have one of each and a side order of fries. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, after all the pigs had had piglets, that's a pass. Elna finally started to dig potatoes. She struck oil. The oilmen came and gave her lots of money. They started 8 new wells and an oil refinery that day. Later that day, Elna took the money and had a very stylish sty built for all the pigs and piglets. Meanwhile, back in Sleepy Gulch, Rancher Hicks headed on over to the general store to check out the checker game. Jeez. Howdy, boys, what's new? Well, Bernie here just got a king and it only took him 2 weeks, said Kurt. I just jumped 2 of Kurt's men in a little over 2 hours, said Bernie. Wow, what a game, said Rancher Hicks. I can't wait to tell Elna. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, all the cows had calves when a silver limo swung into the driveway. Out jumped Hollywood movie producer and his hairdresser. Elna Hicks, I'm going to make you a movie star. So Elna went on a diet and lost 20 pounds. The hairdresser dyed her hair blonde and painted her lips red. The movie producer gave her a script, a bikini, and a large stack of dollar bills. Later that day, Elna had a glamorous cow palace built for all the cows and calves, and she studied her script. Meanwhile, back in Sleepy Gulch, Rancher Hicks started to cross Main Street when he saw it. Amazing, he gasped. Folks ran to see it. Incredible, they said. A crowd gathered. This is big news, really big, said the newspaper editor. I'll go back to this one. The mayor came. Why, I've never seen anything like it since 1949. He declared it a town holiday. The whole town watched it for hours and hours until finally a turtle crossed Main Street. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, all the horses had colts. Hint, hint. When the president's helicopter landed in Elna's yard. Elna Hicks, he said, you've got the finest horses west of Washington. I'm making you a diplomat. Please deliver 2 of your finest horses to the Queen of England. The president paid Elna for the horses and gave her a diplomat's diploma and an autographed picture of himself. Don't forget to vote for me. Elna took the money and later that day built a very stately stable for all the colts and horses. Meanwhile, back in Sleepy Gulch, the sun began to slink so in the west. Rancher Hicks felt bad that Elna had missed all the excitement, so he stopped and bought her a box of Cracker Jacks. This will make her day, he said. Then he climbed into his truck and drove 84 miles back to the ranch. Elna met Rancher Hicks down by the mailbox. He gave her the box of Cracker Jacks and told her about the excitement. Shoot, I missed everything, said Elna. Then Rancher Hicks turned around. What the hey? If you remember, this is what his ranch looked like before. No, this is his ranch.
What the hey?
Crazy.
Meanwhile, Elna opened up her box of Cracker Jacks, and inside she found a real diamond ring. The end.
Cute.
Okay, good job.
Good, very good.
However, there were a couple transitional words and phrases that were consistently missed. I don't think that has anything to do with you, but maybe the frazzlement of having 3 cards that you had to hold up. But later is a future word because it's referring to something that's happening after the current event. So we missed holding up future a couple times. And then meanwhile, you caught on after a while because it's on like every page. But that is a present because it's saying while something is happening, this other event is happening simultaneously at the same time. So meanwhile is present. Okay. Now that you have practiced time transitions, you can use them in your writing. With your literary compass in your hand, your reader will be able to reach happily ever after.